Have no fear of perfection, you'll never reach it. The secret of my influence has always been that it remains secret. Intelligence without ambition is a bird without wings. Drawing is the honesty of the art. There is no possibility of cheating. It is either good or bad. I seated ugliness on my knee, and almost immediately grew tired of it. It is good taste, and good taste alone, that possesses the power to sterilize and is always the first handicap to any creative functioning. Each morning when I awake, I experience again a supreme pleasure, that of being Salvador Dali. At the age of 6 I wanted to be a cook. At 7 I wanted to be Napoleon. And my ambition has been growing steadily ever since. The first man to compare the cheeks of a young woman to a rose was obviously a poet, the first to repeat it was possibly an idiot. I do not paint a portrait to look like the subject, rather does the person grow to look like his portrait. We are all hungry and thirsty for concrete images. Abstract art will have been good for one thing, to restore its exact virginity to figurative art. I have Dalinian thought, the one thing the world will never have enough of is the outrageous. There are some days when I think I'm going to die from an overdose of satisfaction. Mistakes are almost always of a sacred nature. Never try to correct them. On the contrary, rationalize them, understand them thoroughly. After that, it will be possible for you to sublimate them. Surrealism is destructive, but it destroys only what it considers to be shackles limiting our vision. There is only one difference between a madman and me. The madman thinks he is sane. I know I am mad. The only difference between me and a madman is that I'm not mad. What is a television apparatus to man, who has only to shut his eyes to see the most inaccessible regions of the seen and the never seen, who has only to imagine in order to pierce through walls and cause all the planetary Bagdads of his dreams to rise from the dust? Instead of stubbornly attempting to use surrealism for purposes of subversion, it is necessary to try to make of surrealism something as solid, complete and classic as the works of museums. Wars have never hurt anybody except the people who die. Those who do not want to imitate anything, produce nothing. The thermometer of success is merely the jealousy of the malcontents. Take me, I am the drug, take me, I am hallucinogenic. Painting is an infinitely minute part of my personality. The difference between false memories and true ones is the same as for jewels. it is always the false ones that look the most real, the most brilliant. In order to acquire a growing and lasting respect in society, it is a good thing, if you possess great talent, to give, early in your youth, a very hard kick to the right shin of the society that you love. After that, be a snob. Don't bother about being modern. Unfortunately, it is the one thing that, whatever you do, you cannot avoid. Progressive art can assist people to learn not only about the objective forces at work in the society in which they live, but also about the intensely social character of their interior lives. Ultimately, it can propel people toward social emancipation. Liking money like I like it, is nothing less than mysticism. Money is a glory. The terrifying and edible beauty of Art Nouveau architecture. There is one thing more exasperating than a spouse who can cook and won't, and that's a spouse who can't cook and will. There is only one difference between a madman and me. I am not mad. I am the first to be surprised and often terrified by the images that I see appear on my canvas. The sole difference between myself and a madman is the fact that I am not mad. Whatever happens, my audience mustn't know whether I am spoofing or being serious, and likewise I mustn't know either. I am in a constant interrogation. When does the deep and philosophically valid Dali begin, and where does the loony and preposterous Dali end? Nothing proves the truth of surrealism so much as photography. The Zeiss lens has unexpected faculties of surprise. Photographic data is still and essentially the safest poetic medium and the most agile process for catching the most delicate osmosis which exist between reality and surreality. The mere fact of photographic transposition means a total invention, the capture of a secret reality. Photographic fantasy, more agile and faster in discoveries than murky subconscious processes. The world of the cinema and of painting are very different, precisely. The possibilities of photography and the cinema reside in that unlimited fantasy which is born of things themselves. A piece of sugar can become on the screen larger than an infinite perspective of gigantic buildings. For me, love must be ugly, looks must be divine, and death must be beautiful. An elegant woman is a woman who despises you and has no hair under her arms. Democratic governments are not suited to the publication of the thunderous revelations I am in the habit of making. The unpublished parts will appear later, when Europe will have restored its traditional monarchies. God is just another artist, like me. The problem with the youth of today is that one is no longer part of it. The reason some portraits don't look true to life is that some people make no effort to resemble their pictures. God invented man, and man invented the metric system. Right now I'm the greatest. I don't say this through vanity. It's just that the rest are so bad. I worry about another leg down in the economies causing social disruption because deleveragings can be very painful. It depends on how they're managed. I think that the sweetest freedom for a man on earth consists in being able to live, if he likes, without having the need to work. I don't need drugs. I am drugs. This grandiose tragedy that we call modern art. Paranoiac critical activity makes the world of delirium pass onto the plane of reality. Everything that is contradictory creates life. It is mostly with your blood, Gala, that I paint my pictures. Physiological expenditure is a superficial way of self-expression. People who incline toward physical love accomplish nothing at all. I shall be so brief that I have already finished. Who knows how to taste wine never drinks wine again, but tastes secrets instead. Many people do not reach their 80s because they spend too much time in their 40s. Every morning when I wake up, I experience an exquisite joy, the joy of being Salvador Dali, and I ask myself in rapture, what wonderful things this Salvador Dali is going to accomplish today. Picasso is a communist. Neither am I. We are all hungry and thirsty for concrete images. If I'm going to be anything more than average, if anyone is going to remember me, then I need to go further, in art, in life, in everything. All of my knowledge, of both science and religion, I incorporate into the classical tradition of my painting. Dali was Renaissance man converted to psychoanalysis. My art is capable of liberating man from the tyranny of the practical, rational world. I dedicate this novel to Gala, who was constantly by my side while I was writing it, who was the good fairy of my equilibrium, who banished the salamanders of my doubts and strengthened the lions of certainties. I am a contradictory and paradoxical man. Someone like myself, who claimed to be a real madman, living and organized with a Pythagorean precision. We must always remember that the Chinese Revolution was not a peasant's revolution, but one of the extreme right. Do not strive to be a modern artist, it's the one thing, unfortunately, you can't help being. Sometimes I spit on my mother's portrait for pleasure. Young people need plenty of difficulties to achieve something. If you receive a little money for this, a little money for that, everything becomes mediocre, and collapses ignominiously. I will be soft brief, I have already finished. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize they adore me. Since I don't smoke, I decided to grow a mustache. It is better for the health. However, I always carried a jewel-studded cigarette case in which, instead of tobacco, were carefully placed several mustaches, Adolphe Menjou style. I offered them politely to my friends, mustache, mustache, mustache. Nobody dared to touch them. This was my test regarding the sacred aspect of mustaches. The daily life of a genius, his sleep, his digestion, his ecstasies, his nails, his colds, his blood, his life and death are essentially different from the rest of mankind. I do not believe in my death. When I paint, the sea roars, others splash about in the bath. Repulsion is the sentry that guards the gate to all that we most desire. Without hesitation, I place Freud among the heroes. He dispossessed the Jewish people of the greatest and most influential of all heroes, Moses. So little of what could happen does happen. Everyone should eat hashish, but only once. Man cannot change or escape his time. The eye sees the present and the future. If you refuse to study anatomy, the arts of drawing and perspective, the mathematics of aesthetics, and the science of color, let me tell you that this is more a sign of laziness than of genius. The two greatest strokes of luck that can happen to a painter are, 1. To be Spanish, 2. To be called Dali. I don't take drugs, I am drugs. I'm going to live forever. Geniuses don't die. Democratic societies are unfit for the publication of such thunderous revelations as I am in the habit of making. I do not understand why, when I ask for grilled lobster in a restaurant, I'm never served a cooked telephone. The desire to survive and the fear of death are artistic sentiments. The connoisseur does not drink wine but tastes its secrets. If you understand a painting beforehand, you might as well not paint it. Life is too short to remain unnoticed. Let the labyrinth of wrinkles be furrowed in my brow with the red-hot iron of my own life, let my hair whiten and my step become vacillating. On condition that I can save the intelligence of my soul, let my unformed childhood soul, as it ages, assume the rational and aesthetic forms of an architecture. Let me learn just everything that others cannot teach me, what only life would be capable of marking deeply in my skin. Drawing is the honesty of the art. When the creations of a genius collide with the mind of a layman, and produce an empty sound, there is little doubt as to which is at fault. Genius has to pass over madness and madness over genius. I tried sex once with a woman and that woman was Gala. It was overrated. I tried sex once with a man and that man was the famous juggler Federico Garcia Lorca, the Spanish surrealist poet. It was very painful. I want to perceive and understand the hidden powers and laws of things, in order to have them in my power. And now the announcement of Watson and Crick about DNA. This is for me the real proof of the existence of God. Forever will be you and me. Beauty should be edible, or not at all. People love mystery, and that is why they love my paintings. Just as I am astonished that a bank clerk never eats a check, so too am I astonished that no painter before me ever thought of painting a soft watch. Eroticism, hallucinogenic drugs, nuclear science, Gaudi's Gothic architecture, my love of gold, there is a common denominator in all of it, God is present in everything. The same magic is at the heart of all things, and all roads lead to the same revelation, we are children of God, and the entire universe tends towards the perfection of mankind. Picasso is a painter, so am I. Picasso is Spanish, so am I. Picasso is a communist, neither am I. The true painter must be able, with the most usual things, to have the most unusual ideas. Happy is he who causes a scandal. I am making things that inspire me with a profound emotion and I am trying to paint them honestly. Everything alters me, but nothing changes me. New skin, a new land. And a land of liberty, if that is possible. I chose the geology of a land that was new to me. Begin by learning to draw and paint like the old masters. After that, you can do as you like, everyone will respect you. Geniuses must never die, the progress of mankind depends on us. Do not be afraid of perfection, you will never attain it. What is important is to spread confusion, not eliminate it. You know the worst thing is freedom. Freedom of any kind is the worst for creativity. You know, Dali spent 2 months in jail in Spain, and these 2 months were the most enjoyable and happy in my life. Before my jail period, I was always nervous, anxious. I didn't know if I should make a drawing, or perhaps make a poem, or go to the movies or the theater, or catch a girl, or play with the boys. The people put me in jail, and my life became divine. Tremendous. I was never capable of being an average pupil. I would either seem refractory to any teaching and give the impression of being completely dumb, or I would fling myself on my work with a frenzy, a patience, and a willingness to learn that astonished everybody. But to awaken my zeal, it was necessary to offer me something I liked. Once my appetite had been whetted, I became ravenously hungry. Knowing how to look is a way of inventing. It is not necessary for the public to know whether I am joking or whether I am serious, just as it is not necessary for me to know it myself. To be interesting, one has to provoke. Qu'essaie déguster any boit plus jamais de vin, mais gout de secrets. It is either easy or impossible. Let my enemies devour each other. The famous soft watches are nothing else than the tender, extravagant, solitary, paranoid critical camembert off time and space. Mistakes are almost always of a sacred nature, understand them thoroughly. Every morning upon awakening, I experience a supreme pleasure, that of being Salvador Dali, and I ask myself, wonderstruck, what prodigious thing will he do today, this Salvador Dali? I don't do drugs. I am drugs. Now sexual obsessions are the basis of artistic creation. Accumulated frustration leads to what Freud calls the process of sublimation. Anything that does not take place erotically sublimates itself in the work of art. The fact I myself do not understand what my paintings mean while I am painting them does not imply that they are meaningless. Give me 2 hours a day of activity, and I'll take the other 22 in dreams. One day it will have to be officially admitted that what we have christened reality is an even greater illusion than the world of dreams. You have to systematically create confusion, it sets creativity free. Everything that is contradictory creates life. I do not take drugs. I am drugs. I believe that the moment is near when by a procedure of active paranoiac thought, it will be possible to systematize confusion and contribute to the total discrediting of the world of reality. A true artist is not one who is inspired, but one who inspires others. Since man's highest mission on earth is to spiritualize everything, it is his excrement in particular that needs it most. I am not strange. I am just not normal. Great wine requires a mad man to grow the vine, a wise man to watch over it, a lucid poet to make it, and a lover to drink it.